What are some really dangerous things most people don't realize are dangerous? A few inches of moving water over a roadway. Driving while tired. It can be just as dangerous as driving while drunk, but many people do it without thinking twice. For context, 20 hours awake impairs you as much as 0.08% BAC, which counts as DUI in many states. A lot of people end up with liver failure from overusing Tylenol. It's not harmless, don't treat it like Skittles. Not having enough sodium. There's always warnings about too much salt, but apparently if you don't have enough it can throw your body totally out of whack. Learned this after passing out and ending up in the ER. Tailgating at 70 miles per hour. Edit. Thank you Redditors for the overwhelming response and for the anonymous gold. To be honest, this thread moved to the left lane for passing discussion. It wasn't the goal of my response. My response is more about how a tailgater will dramatically increase the risk of an accident versus being patient and sharing the road with others. 100% of accidents are when two objects want to occupy the same space. And the logic of getting closer to the object in front of you at relatively high speed seems illogical to me. Garage door springs. A full force punch to the face. People have died from a single punch. Eating grapefruit while on medication. Grapefruit has so many bad interactions with medication, ranging from rendering the medication ineffective, to toxicity. Walking up or down the stairs. The most common accident at home is falling down the stairs. Putting your feet on the dashboard. It is extremely dangerous. Sitting all day. Pregnancy. My wife is a medical professional, our pregnancy was planned. We were educated on the process and what the risks were and what to expect. Holy shit. Between the scans, the tests, placenta previa, a false water break a month too early, a preeclampsia diagnosis and early admittance into the hospital, a heart arrhythmia for mom and poop in the womb for baby, a long and dangerous labor bordering on a C-section, and then a whisked-away baby to clear his airway. The entire process is an absolutely traumatic horror show. Then they give you your baby and walk you out the door 36 hours later to raise it for the rest of your life. If you need someone's attention while they're using heavy equipment, in a non-emergency situation, let them finish before getting their attention. I work as a meat cutter. When I'm cutting something on the bandsaw, I have my back turned to the counter. Lot of customer expect to get service immediately as soon as they walk up to the counter. So I'm cutting something and they immediately make a loud noise to get my attention. Like picking up a metal sign post and banging it in the floor or slamming the counter. It surprises me, making me flinch depending on how loud it is. With my fingers inches from a saw that easily passes through the thickest of cow bones. I don't care how important your dinner date steak is. If I lose my hand, I will do my damnedest to punch you in the face with my bloody stump. Additional info since I received a lot of comments about it. I am not alone. I have at least one other coworker working the counter. No, the bandsaw is not next to the service counter. That would be a very bad idea. The amount of bone dust, yes, just like sawdust, produced would make it very difficult to keep the front area clean. I work in a back area, that is separated by a low wall and large open bay window. That's where we do all the meat production. That's where we can contain all the bone dust, blood, rendered fat, and other things that come with meat cutting. Also that area is refrigerated. We have 2 massive cooling units on the ceiling with a total of 8 fans. It doesn't keep the production or refrigerator cold. But it does keep it around 50 F on average. Because of these loud fans, I can't hear my coworkers when they're talking at normal levels to someone in THW front. I can hear voices but cannot distinguish what is being said. And that should give everyone an idea of how loud these assholes are. I can hear it extremely loud over the fans, loud band saw and bones being sawed. Brazilian butt lifts. One of the most dangerous cosmetic surgeries. There are major blood vessels, deep in the musculature of the area, and if injecting and trying to really enhance the area, oftentimes the injection can go too deep and violate the veins. The result could be fat or fillers entering the bloodstream and then the circulatory system potentially causing a lethal pulmonary embolism. A coworker got a BBL last year in March. Flew to Florida to get it. A week in it was infected. A week after that she was in the hospital. A month after that she was released but bedridden. She ran out of FMLA time because she was so exhausted from the pain she couldn't work for months, so she was let go, quit. She just got a job last month, an entire year after having it, and she said that it was the first time she could reliably walk. She is still glad she got it. That was actually really sad to read. I think people frequently drive way too close to the car in front of them. Growing up, I was always taught a car length's distance for every 10 mph. And while it seems crazy, that simple rule of driving has saved my ass more times than I can count. Electricity. You can't see it until it's too late. Harmless wires dangling around will put you into the ground. Even if it looks good, it can be done wrong and start a fire. Source. Am an electrician. This is super vague, but I think a lot of people often underestimate the dangers of water. Like the power of a river or sea current, water on the road, slipping in the shower, etc. Bleach. Mix with ammonia? Basically mustard gas, you died. Mix with alcohol? Chloroform, you can pass out and have organ failure. Mix with vinegar? Chlorine gas, you died. Bonus. Mix hydrogen peroxide and vinegar? Peracetic acid, your lungs bleed. To clarify. Do not clean pee with bleach. Pee has ammonia. Edit. I'm so glad to read this has helped some people not gas themselves, hooray. Have fun and stay safe out there. Edit 2. Not technically mustard gas, but chloramine. Still just as nasty. Falling down. I know there are jokes about the whole I've fallen and I can't get up. But it's a real danger. As we get older, our bones lose density and strength, so falling can actually cause legitimate injuries. And even if you're not old, unprotected falls are still dangerous. Street fights where people get knocked out and fall onto concrete is super dangerous. It doesn't take a lot of height to cause serious damage when falling and hitting your head. Driving. Gasoline. People put it in their cars every day, so they don't realize how volatile it is. YouTube is full of videos of people pouring gasoline on a campfire, or pouring it in a garbage can and sticking a match to it, only to find themselves sitting on their asses a half second later, eyebrows singed off and flash burns on their faces and hands, if they're lucky. It's explosive. It's not like lighter fluid for your barbecue grill. Unloaded gun. It's a valuable lesson to learn that a gun is always loaded. Even if you know it isn't. One negligent discharge can ruin lives. Don't even take the chance to make that mistake. This part. I don't care if I just watched you check and clear that thing. I'm still checking and clearing it once it gets into my hands. Then, I'll load it and shoot. Then check and clear it again before I hand it to a friend or set it down. Then, the next person had better check and clear it once they pick it up, or else I'm going to be angry. Check and clear. If you just checked and cleared, but forgot whether it was empty or not, check and clear again. You can check and clear a gun a million times safely. But it only takes once time to forget it and ruin lives. I used to go to a local gun range store a few years ago, and they had a large 5-gallon water jug that goes in those workplace water coolers, sitting on the counter full of live rounds of ammunition from people bringing in unloaded guns that still had a round chambered. I have a good one for you from when I worked at a gun shop. A customer asked to see a Henry lever action rifle. Employee goes in the back, gets one that's sealed in the box. He takes it out of the box, goes to hand it to the customer. As is standard practice, he opens the action before handing it across the counter. Live round flies out and lands on the counter right in front of the customer. Turns out that Henry shipped a batch of rifles out of the factory with live rounds in the tube. Chiropractors. I was born with quite severe scoliosis. It was cheaper to go to a chiropractor than an actual doctor growing up. This has resulted in significant damage to my back. When I finally got in to see a spinal specialist, he mentioned that upwards of 45% of his long-term patients were there because of chiropractors. He told me after reviewing years of my x-rays that the adjustments I was receiving actually made my spine worse than if I were to have not done anything. It is also pretty common for chiropractors to break bones. There were a few people that went to my doctor that were paralyzed by a chiropractor. When I was 16, a chiropractor did an adjustment that caused one of the discs in my spine to rupture. I also had my hip dislocated at one point. So yeah, chiropractors are not real doctors, and can cause a lot of harm. As a chef, it's food. I've seen people who cook at home with some very dangerous cooking habits. Everything from not washing hands after handling raw meat, it's all raw proteins, people, not just chicken, to not cooling leftovers properly and even proper storing procedures. Spoiler alert. Don't store raw chicken above the salad you plan to serve with it. Those juices can drip down and contaminate everything. Personally, I think everyone needs to take a class on proper food handling for their safety and everyone's safety for whom they plan on cooking.